Okay, people. All right, recording, testing. We have Ginto online. We have I see Pragasa in hold on. What is this asking me? Okay. Yeah, Pragasa in Botswana. I see Mr. Omolo. I see it well. And Rehman Namuyanja. It is Shola. We have Keith Kabanda. Oh my God, these are powerful people. Okay. We have a Lillian just joined us. We have and I think for those of you who are inviting people, today we have YouTube open. YouTube is open, so we can crack on. So what I'm going to do is ask Kevin to send us the questions, some of the questions. I have a couple of questions here myself. But you know, I'm going to be looking at different questions at different times. Let me just become a co-host. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so if you have a question that you want to ask, please, I encourage you to put it in the inbox, in the chat here at the bottom. Just send the question either to me or to everyone, and then I'll be able to deal with it as we go through the show. But in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll just get ready to get started. So let me set this up. Okay. Okay, I don't know if my lighting is anywhere near where it's supposed to be, but I hope you can see a faint figure of me. I'm here. It's me. I didn't use a voiceover. Yes, I can see Doreen and Remy, so I definitely think it's me. I hope you guys can rubber stamp my identity. So let's go. Okay, so this is a question and a sort of a question and answer session. My answers are not absolute. I just have to warn you because a lot of the times when we come to these shows, people say, yeah, you know, when Danny said this, I knew it was the right way to do it. There's so many ways to do whatever you want to do. There's so many ways to achieve success. There's so many people that have different formulas you can use to actually be very successful in your life. So my take on things is purely my own, either from my experience or from the things that I've studied. Or some of the things that, you know, I've seen other people do. So this is something that I don't want you to say, this is the only way to do it. There are other people, I'm sure there's smart people on this call that have better answers than I do, but I'm going to try and address each question as it comes. I had a question sent to me, but by the way, before I start with that, I just want to explain to you why we do these calls. It's really important. We do these calls because I believe that if we're going to impact a generation, we have to look at, you know, mindsetting. You know, we have to look at, you know, how do we address some of the things that we have learned in the past, things we are learning today, and things we need to learn. How do we bring those three together? You know, what we know, what we need to know, and what we have been you know, trained to do in essence, because we have lots of influences in our lives, you know, or influencers, if you like, parents, religious leaders, community leaders, you know, elders in the community. Lots of different people have different opinions about how your life should be. And unfortunately, some of the stuff that they've taught us doesn't apply in today's world. Some of the principles, some of the tradition, some of the generic behaviors, those things still apply. But unfortunately, there are things that we've learned in our journey to where we are right now that are obsolete. They don't work anymore. They don't work anymore. People used to tell you to read a book every day. I don't subscribe to that stuff anymore. I think if you just find one book, one teacher, one person, you can pretty much draw what you need to draw from that. And then you can maybe draw some comparisons with other people. But you don't need to have, 3 master's degrees to be able to be successful in life. What they used to tell us, without a college degree, you are nothing. Nobody's going to give you a job. That stuff is good, but it no longer applies in today's world. We used to be told things like you have to be able to do what the family did. If your father was a policeman, you're going to have to be a policeman. If your father was a vet, my dad was a vet, I should have been a vet. It's not necessarily true. It's not like one family was appointed by God to do specific work. And we have to pay attention to what's going on in the world right now. We have this thing we talk about post-COVID or after COVID, as some people call it. Lots of things have changed, but the principles are the same. You still have to be disciplined. You have to work hard. You have to have a really good attitude. You have to be alert to opportunities that come your way. But lots of things have changed. That's true. We have to really be careful not to sort of expect things to be how they used to be. I'm in the UK. I'm reading a lot about the financial markets and stuff like that. I like commerce. I like economics. I like, studying about money and that kind of stuff. And they're predicting a recession. They're saying, things are going to get worse before they get better. Now, there's something I taught myself, and I read this in a book a long time ago when I was younger. And it says some things you don't have to take part. Some things you just have to say, you know what, I'm not going to participate. And what do I mean by that? Things are going to get tough in your life. Things are going to get tough. That's granted. That's, as long as you're alive and you're human, you're going to have challenges. Some are tougher than others. Some are not as tough, right? So if there's a little bit of a drizzle and there's some water, running along, there's a little canal near your house, that's okay. And then when there's a thunderstorm and it's really heavily raining, you may have to start going, okay, what's going on? The water is rising. But if there's a tsunami, you have to prepare different. If you know that there's a storm coming and they say, look, this is going to wipe out probably half the houses in the neighborhood, your preparation is different. So what we have to do is we need to learn how to be more prepared to perform in the current market, in the current climate. That means we have to strengthen our spiritual side. We have to strengthen our mental side. We've got to strengthen our physical side. You have to have stamina to survive in the current climate, whether it's to be economically or socially. You have to have stamina. You have to be, somebody who's conscious about their health, because wellness is probably what's going to help us go through these times. Because as things get tougher, people get more depressed, they get more stressed. So what happens is that, a person who lives in a fit body or has looked after themselves, they have a much greater chance of surviving than perhaps a person who doesn't really care about themselves. So I just wanted to put that out there. But we're living in different times, and there's a couple of things that I'll share with you at the back end of this call. But right now, let's just jump into the questions. I think the first, Kevin, is Kevin there? Kevin, you have some questions for me.
Yeah. I have some questions for you then.
Yes. Go ahead. So let's jump into the first. Yeah.
All right. The first question is, following up is one of the factors that can bring back a sale. Mm-hmm. What are the best ways to do to ensure the clients give a best response of investment after seeing the demo after a while? I think this one is a Salad Master question.
Yes.
So I think that question is, what are the best ways?
Yes.
What are the best ways to do to ensure the clients give a best response of investment after seeing the demo? Okay,
very, very, very good question. So it's actually it's a Salad Master question, but it's also a sales question. It's a sales question. Customers invest in value. But then before value, there's another word. It's called personal value. Okay, that's number one. So personal value. So customers invest in personal value. It's what they deem to be relevant to their lives, or perhaps how they feel whatever you're presenting is going to impact their lives, positively. Because we're human beings, so therefore we're wired to gravitate away from pain towards pleasure. So we seek pleasure over pain. So when they look at the process that you put them through whenever you're doing a presentation, whether it's to be a Salad Master product or another product or service, they ask themselves this question: which of the two pains is lesser than the other, and which one is greater than the other? So people they invest in something that's going to alleviate pain, or something that's going to bring more pleasure, right? Whichever side of the aisle they're at, right? Now, that's a very, very difficult balance to strike, to understand, is this more pleasurable? Or should I focus more on talking about the pleasure of this? Or is this more, should I focus on the pain? Because sometimes pain is a greater motivator than pleasure. And in some cases, pleasure is the greatest motivator. Some people just go, there's a party, oh my God. They would jump over the wall just to go and have a party, just to have a good time. But some people, the pain of dealing with the parents or the spouse the next morning after finding out that they run away in the middle of the night to go to a party, when they visualize that pain, they go, I'm not going. It's not worth it. I can't do it, right? So a sale is the same. When you're selling a product, the customer is asking themselves, how relevant is this to my life? What things is it going to fix? What is it going to change for better or for worse? And they're assessing these things. So what you have to do as a presenter or as somebody who's doing sales is really position the customer's, if you like, perceived value, if you like. You have to position that at the center of the whole presentation. So let's say, for instance, the person is concerned about their health. They say, I have, health issues, right? What regular salespeople do is they go, oh, what health issues? And the person says, I'm concerned about diabetes. Okay, why is that? My mom had it and I'm borderline diabetic, the person says. So what happens is the salesperson says, this is great. So now I can tell you everything about how you might get diabetes and really scare you into buying my product. It doesn't always work that way. In fact, in my experience, it hardly works. So what you have to do is dig a little bit more. So I want to dig a little bit more, because whenever you do a presentation and the quality of your presentation has a strong foundation, it's unforgettable. It could be months later, the person will come back and say to you, based on what we discussed 6 months ago, I still think your product is valid. They won't forget it. And let me explain that. So the person is concerned about health, and you found out that they probably have an issue or they're borderline, something, cholesterol, whatever. So I want to find out, what's going on. So I go, tell me a little bit more about that. They start telling me. Now, the more they talk about the problem that they have, the more they dive into the details of the problem that they have. They start saying to you, I don't sleep very well. I'm always worried. When I go for, any kind of activity, whether it's playing with the kids or, sports or whatever, it's just really, really it's depressing. I get tired really quickly. I go, where would you go to play with the kids? At the park. We have a park next door. Just a few months ago, we used to go every weekend and it was fantastic. But for some reason these days, I'm finding it really difficult to actually spend even 15 minutes with the kids. So then I start digging. So how important is that? I mean, is that something that you want to fix? Have you been doing anything to fix that? Have you spoken to anybody about that? Oh yeah, I've been talking to doctors and stuff like that. So I want to find out their level of hopelessness. I want to find out their level of pain. I want to find out what is it that's driving this decision to see my presentation, if I have a solution to offer. It's not as important for you to just go in and state the features and the benefits of whatever solution, whether it's Salad Master or another product. It's not that important that you go in and start to, overwhelm them with, this does this, and this will do this for you, this will do this for you. No. I often relate sales to the relationship between men and women. And please forgive me, I'm going to go into something that's going to be a little bit upsetting for some of you. But it's not going to be upsetting. I withdraw that statement. Listen, women love to be listened to, and they like to sit down and tell you what's happened to them, and you have to listen, right? What men do, which we're really stupid at this, like, when a man, when a man hears that, this is happening, the man says, okay, no problem, we're going to fix it. This is how we're going to fix it. What do you need? And they think money can fix it. And, they bring all kinds of different things. This is what I think you should do. So we're like ready to jump in and give immediate solutions. But the person actually only wanted you to first listen to understand them first. Just listen. Don't give me a solution. Don't tell me how you're going to fix what you don't know. I need fixing. So it's really, it's a very, if I could just use that analogy, customers are like that. Customers just want you to listen them into buying. So the more you listen to them, the more you pay attention to what's really important to them, the more you pay attention to what's hurting them, the more you pay attention to what they're trying to fix, improve, change in their family, the more they're interested in listening to how can you fix this? And they're eager for you to give them a solution. But when you come in and you're attacking them with, I can fix this for you, don't worry, Salad Master does this product does this product doesn't do this like Salad Master does, that stuff is forgettable. That's hype, that's motivation. You do not have to motivate people to buy your product. You have to educate them. And through education, they're motivated to buy the product. You can't educate them about the product without understanding why they would need the product in the first place. Be very careful, because there's a very, very common mistake the salespeople make of thinking that the customer is eager to know more about the product than they are to tell you about what their problem is. Their problem is what they need to discuss, not your product. Your product is after. When you go to the doctor and you don't have money, and the doctor says to you, you're not well, and you're saying, doctor, I'm not well. He says, or she says, what's the problem? You go, I have, some pain. The doctor says, where is the pain? I have headaches, I have joint pains, I don't sleep very well, I get fevers. And the doctor says, how often do you get fevers? You go, every evening. How constant is the headache? I don't know, it's on and off. Is it a crushing headache? Is it a migraine? Is it, before they even touch you, they interview you to listen, to understand potentially what could be the source of pain, what brought you to us today. You see, salespeople are like doctors. They're like doctors. The customer is saying, I have a problem. I'm in pain. Don't rush to pull out your prescription slip and start writing, this is what you need. You don't know what the problem is. Sometimes we do a presentation and the customer is not ready. So this patient doesn't have money to buy the expensive drugs that the doctors have prescribed, but based on the way the doctor interacted with them, they're going to do everything to find the money to buy those drugs. It's the same with your product. If the prognosis, the diagnosis, the discovery that you did during the presentation was compelling to the person you spoke to, it doesn't matter. Even a year later, they will call you and say, I'd like to buy the product. So how do you follow up? With sales, you follow up, people are more relational now than they are transactional. There's so much information out there. There's so many comparative, offerings in the market. If you're an artist, there are better artists or seemingly better artists. If you're in Salad Master, you're selling, what we sell in the product, cookware. There's so many different companies that have, different alternatives that are competing with us. If you're in, fashion, somebody else's product is better. So what you have to do is what really sells these days. And in fact, most of these products offer the same. They offer the same. If you go like to the top range of colognes and perfumes, they use the same stuff. It's just who has a better brand. They may have a slight variation in terms of how they smell. The scientists try to do different things, but they use the same brand. It's the same thing, these painkillers, they use the same brand. It's just the way they market and the way the product relates to the customer. People develop a fascination with the product, the presentation, the presenter, right? So when you're doing a presentation in sales, and I'm going to finish on this question because I've kind of gone on a bit, you have to remember, as you process the whole, presentation, the information they're giving you, the information you're giving them, the exchange that's happening, the interaction, not the negotiation. At this point, you're not even negotiating, just the interaction. You have to remember to put your humane side into the presentation. People love to buy into people. When they buy into people, they buy the product that those people are presenting to them. When they don't buy into you, your product is irrelevant. It doesn't matter how good it is. So you've got to really remember that, build a relationship. So the follow-up after is so easy because I'm calling my friend. I say, hey, Grace, how you doing? She's like, I'm great. Great to see you the other day. That was fantastic. We really had a good time. Listen, Grace, and I'm willing to give away more before I start to demand something back. In fact, you never have to demand anything back. If you do it right, the customer will then go, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to definitely find a way to do business with this person. And what do I mean by relationship? It's a professional relationship. It's a relationship that's built on you giving them things that are more relevant to what they deem to be value. So they were concerned about health. You sent them a meal plan. You say, actually, there's a client of ours. I'm not supposed to share this with you, but I felt compelled, because you guys were great. The family welcomed me really well. So I want to share some of the things that we're doing. We're alkalizing this person. Just have a read through this and see how we do it. We did something for somebody else that, really worked for them. I want to recommend, this vegetable. It's one of the ones that I find most of my clients are really, really fascinated by. They eat a lot of broccoli, and this is why. So I'm giving you education. In the process of educating you, you're going to be compelled to say, you know what? Bring the product so we can continue on with this relationship. So I'm going to leave that there, Kevin. I can go on and on. With sales, it's endless. Just focus on the customer's value, not the value your product provides. That's very important. Yeah. Next question.
All right. Thank you, Danny, for that. The next question is.
By the way, guys, put some comments in the chat. Let me just 1 second. Right. Okay, I'm still here. I haven't left. Yeah, put some comments in the chat. If you have any questions, if you're shy, just text me directly. Just go to the names and select Danny or Danston. I don't know how it comes up on your screen, and then just send me the question. And I promise you, I will not reveal your name. How is that? I won't tell them it was Grace. I won't say it was Lillian. I'm not going to mention it was Sydney Wango. I'll just say somebody. All right. So just send me a question. All right. Go ahead, Kevin.
All right. So how best can you show up for your team as a leader? And I think consequently building a strong team. How best can you show up for your team as a leader? Build a strong team.
Okay. So I think the question is about, leadership. How do you position yourself as an effective leader where your team is concerned? I think that's kind of what the person is asking, right? Leadership is not a position. It's actually an attitude. Leadership is not a position. it's a responsibility. Leadership is about servanthood. It's about serving people. It's not about being powerful in front of people or being controlling to people. Leadership is about servanthood. So I truly believe, oh, Epiaka has joined us. You see, when people lose their shyness, it's a nice thing. They start to show up. Stop being shy. So leadership is it's a responsibility. Leadership is trust. When people trust you, they follow you anywhere. But watch this. How do you build trust? Trust is based on credibility. Customers will trust you and they will buy things from you that they didn't want to buy because they trust you. People will work with you even as they struggle through the process before they make any money, because people can make a lot of money and leave you because the leadership is wrong. So it's not the reward of the money that people seek. It's actually, what am I doing here and how is this going to impact me 6 months, 6 years, 16 years from now? How is this going to impact? If I follow this person, what am I going to become as a result of being in their company? Because we talked about it last week. We said success is by association. If you follow a bonehead, you're probably going to be another bonehead. If you follow a really, really top person, a top performer, a disciplined person, somebody who has values and credibility, someone who has empathy, compassion, they're a solid quality human being, what happens is it starts to rub off you. When you follow people who are peak performers, people who are not lazy, they work hard, they give it 100%. Every single day they go out, they give it 100%. What happens is you become that person. So what you have to ask yourself, if you want to be a great leader, ask yourself this question: what are the qualities of a person I would follow? And write those things down. When you do, you will start to understand the kind of person you have to become. Because after 500 years, the word discipline will not change. It will still be a requirement. It's never going, it's not going away. It's always going to be a requirement. You have got to be disciplined if you're going to be successful. The word consistency is not going anywhere, right? The word focus is not going anywhere. The word honesty is not, you can bring all the technology in the world, right? And somebody asked the question some time ago, they said, the good thing with technology is always honest. And the person who was listening laughed and they said, no, it's only as honest as the person who programmed it. If you have a dishonest person make a robot, that robot is dishonest. Instead of giving you a liter of water, it will give you 0.7 of a liter, and they say, yeah, this, when you press this, the liter comes out. No, it's not a liter. You understand? So the word honesty will always, appear. The word kind, kindness is not something that you just press a button and say, we don't need kind human beings anymore. So you need to understand that people follow people. They don't follow, titles. They don't follow promotions. They don't follow, or you've been around for a long time. Some, there used to be a confusion. People used to think that people follow age. That stuff is gone. We have some young leaders, really young people that are driven. They do incredible things in their field of play, and people follow them. They say, I don't care. I want to be under this person's, mentorship and leadership. So leadership is not a position. Leadership is trust. So, ask those questions. What are the character traits of the person that I would follow anywhere? What do they have that would make me follow them? Now, when you look at those things, you will start to understand what you have to become as a leader. It's a very expansive subject. I think I've done a lot of classes on leadership. If you go to YouTube, you can dig up some of the stuff. It's there. But generally, people do not want to have powerful leaders anymore. The modern leader The Winston Churchill model is gone. The Hitler model of, dictatorship is gone. It's leadership by servanthood. Servanthood or servant leadership is the most effective way to lead your people. And you give credit back to the system. Don't say I'm great, just say I'm using a great system. Emma, would you like to see what I'm doing? So Emma comes, he learns to employ the same system you're employing. So therefore he has the potential to get the same results. You see, I often say to people, the best way to acquire more power, which is ultimately what will happen if you're a servant leaders are very powerful. The best way to acquire more power, and power is only powerful if it's actually given to you by people. Power is powerless if you actually take it from people. So if you give your people power, you empower them, they deflect it back to you. If you take power from people, if you take a little bit, just a little bit, and you start telling them things like, I'm your supervisor, I'm your dealer, do you know whose business this is? This is my business. I'm the managing director of this company. How dare you speak to me like that? When you start doing that stuff, every time you do that, you're taking away a lot of your power. So people listen to that. They won't respond, they won't react, but unfortunately, they'll remember that in their quiet, in their moments in bed. And then they'll start to look, subconsciously, they start to look for another leader. I have never seen somebody who says, I want you to keep remembering, this is my business. If you don't like the fact that it's my business, go open up your own business. That person, that statement, it means that you probably won't be in business for more than 2-3 years. That's looking for power. But I've also seen people that say, you know what, I'm just going to show you how it's done. Just watch me. And they build you and they speak life into you. And guess what? In the process of doing that, people latch onto that. They follow this person. They become as good. They're going to become better. You need to be able to speak life into your people. And really appreciate them when they're not performing. Appreciate them when they're not disciplined. Appreciate them when they don't really show gratitude. Just keep loving them, keep giving them your time and keep coaching them, keep correcting them. Sometimes you have to hug, sometimes you have to slap, but keep working with them. As long as you have a solid relationship with those people, eventually something good will come out of it. If people leave you or they stop doing what you ask them to do, don't run after them. Just focus on working on yourself, making sure you provide the right leadership platform for people, and some will fall off. I often say, whenever I do these trips away from the office, my office, some people come back when I'm away. So they work when I'm not there, right? The minute I come back, they disappear. They disappear, right? Or sometimes people, the day I leave, they disappear. When I come back, they come back to work. Right? So my leadership style is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Some people just, they hate the fact that, I can't stand this guy, he's back. We're gonna start opening the office at 7. Yeah. If you're from my office, you should give me a thumbs up because that's coming. That's normal. We open the office at 7. They go, what's wrong with Danny? And the minute I leave, sorry, Darlene, if you're on the call, Tyra, you guys, the minute I leave, the office opens at 9. They say, oh, Danny's gone. Let's just start at 9 o'clock. I'm not saying you're lazy. I'm just saying that that's your leadership style. My leadership style is, I want to start early. I want to jump on it, right into it, work it. And, by 11, when everybody's stretching and saying, I've just arrived at the office, we're good to go. We're good to go. We're good to go. So, I'm from the old school. I'm not from a school of, just, start whenever you can. No, start really early. In fact, we should start, 5 in the morning. Start really early so that by 9 o'clock, when everybody's opening, you're going in the field. You understand? That's my style of leadership. Now, Some people don't like that. So when I come, they run away. They go, Daddy's coming. No, I don't want to do all this hard work. And he's going to insult me. He's going to do this. No. At the end of the day, I do it because I want you to be successful. And I'm just giving you some examples right there. Kevin, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Benny, for that one.
Let me see.
Next one is hello?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
All right. So it says, hi, I'm from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to you for a while and you talk of nose.
Kev, you fed it. You've been listening to me for a while and
you talk about numbers a lot. Does the number of yeses eventually bypass the no's in sales?
Does the number of yeses do what?
Eventually bypass the no's, the number of no's in sales.
Does it ever in life? It doesn't. It doesn't. You know, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. You know, the law of averages, you know, when something is a law, it's a law. When you break the law, you go to jail. You know, they arrest you. So this is the law of averages. The law of averages. For every no you get, you're getting closer to a yes. It's just, I don't know whether it's just a human trait or something. I'm not sure how to describe it without being, you know, scientific or complex about it. But human beings have a higher propensity of saying no just by default. Kevin, mute yourself, please. Yeah, so we're hardwired to say no without even hearing what the person is saying. Hi, how you doing? Listen, I've just wanted to talk to you. No. Hi, how you doing? I've just come across something across. No. 90% of the time when people say no, it's another way of saying politely or, you know, aggressively, leave me alone. They're not saying no to what you're proposing because they have no clue what you're proposing. So it's just something that, you know, we're trained, and it's weird because even as parents, when the kid is a toddler, they're this small, we're like, ooh, pushy, we're so happy, we're so excited, and then the kid starts to cry, right? Hard. You start saying, stop it. In the end, you just, first time they cry, you're okay. And then as they start to crawl, they start pulling everything. Curtains, you know, they're pulling books. You go, no. And then they get to one, they start running around the house. They're about to land, go into the staircase. You go, no, stop it. No. So we grow up on the word no. It's fed into us for a very long time. So what happens is it becomes part of our vocabulary. I can't say that word. Of us, I can't say that. I'm dyslexic. Oh man, I'm dyslexic. I can't say it. So you see, that's my thing. That's my that's my struggle right there. But here's the thing: it's part of your speech, like or your speech patterns. Let me use that word for lack of a better word. So we're ingrained. We are coached from the time we are babies to say no. So as you start to grow up, you start to go, no. You want to do this? No. You want to do this? Go to bed? No. Read your book? No. Eat your food? No. So it's just part of our culture. So I don't really, when I'm doing business or I'm doing anything in life, I don't try and change the world too much. I try and work with it. I don't, you know, some people say, you know, don't breathe like that, or you should do this, and you know, you should live up the mountain because there's more fresh air and all this kind of stuff. I don't fight those types of things. I just, I know that more people will say no than yeses, but ultimately the value of the yeses will always supersede the value of the no, if that makes sense. So if I'm selling Salad Master, for instance, and I sell 10 sets, and let's say I collect $50,000, and to sell those 10 sets, I had to speak to about 50 families, and 10 said yes, 40 said no. I take the $50,000, I divide it by the 50 families. So in my head, everybody said yes. Because you got a yes in the first place to come and show you the demonstration. That's a yes. But you see, salespeople forget the appointment was the first yes. We always remember the no that they give us after we've done a lousy presentation. We don't remember that they first said yes, and then they said no after they seen you, right? You're the reason they said no. As soon as you understand you're the reason they say no, you can go work on yourself. Now, it's possible as your skill gets better, that your conversion ratio is better. So you had to cook for 10 people to sell one set. You get better, you cook for 5, you sell 1. You get better, you cook for 2, you deliver 1, right? So some people have a higher conversion. So they do 2 customer presentations, they get 1 sale. Some people do 10 to get 1 sale. That's usually skill. It's belief, self-belief, your attitude, it's your work rates, it's the market. There's so many variants in there. There are things that actually make it possible to actually improve your conversion. But ultimately, the most important one is your skill, your attitude, and your marketing, your ability to go out there and work hard on actually finding the right market for your product. That's very important, right? So you will get better in terms of conversion, but you never run away from the balance between sort of, the higher percentage will say no, even if they don't know why they're saying no, and the smaller percentage will say yes, but we don't need everybody to say yes. And in fact, what happens is, Kevin, over time, some of the people that say yes will come back around and say say no, they'll come back around and say yes. They weren't interested at the time, it was the wrong time, it was a different day, difficult day, things were happening in their lives, money wasn't available, they didn't have the pain they have today. Eventually something will trigger them, and it may be the first time you were there, it was Sharon, today's Rita. So Sharon didn't sell to them, Rita came in and sold to them. Maybe her presentation was more relatable, or perhaps her timing was better than Sharon's. So it's different things, so I don't think you'll get to a point where you talk to 10 people and 9 will buy and 1 will say no. It's possible if you're selling chapatis on the streets, if you're selling, those types of things. But if you're selling a high ticket product, more people would be window shopping than buying. Yeah. I hope that helps, Kevin. Again, this is my perspective on things. It's not really cast in stone, but this is from my experience in direct sales. It's what I've experienced. I don't really care about people saying no. In fact, I love it. I have a passion for no. When they say no, I said, no problem. Have a nice day, next one. And I keep going and I keep going. And I change my approach eventually as I get better. And as I understand why they're saying no, I start to work towards, getting closer to them in terms of, maybe how I communicated, or maybe how I was dressed. It's just little things. Sometimes it's just a fine margin between, being successful in sales and not being successful. Sometimes it's just a margin, and understanding that is critical, but it's never a perfect science. Any more questions? If there isn't, I have some things that I want to, just little tips that I want to give you guys.
We have one more question, Danny, before you continue.
Yes.
As a leader, how do you deal with lazy people and those that have a bad attitude at work? How do you solve disputes? So I think the person was asking for three answers. As a leader, how do you deal with lazy people and those that have a bad attitude at work? And how do you solve disputes?
Okay. So one is lazy people. There are no lazy people. They're just demotivated people. Lazy people don't exist. I tell you why. I know it's true because when somebody has an injury, so I went to see my son play football, Kai, my firstborn. I went to see him play football. And before I arrived, he texted me, he said, Dad, I've just done my knee in, so you may not see the whole of me playing. I'm going to be playing injured. I said, no problem. I'm still coming. He tried to stop me. He says, but Dad, I'm not going to show you my true potential. I said, no. I'm still coming, right? So I went there and I watched him play, and he was in pain. He was in pain. So I said, take it easy, man. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. This is, it's just, you're having fun. You're kicking around with your friends. It was a charity event, so it was a tournament. So he didn't want to let his team down. So then after he came back, he wanted to travel to go spend some time with his friends. And so I nursed his knee and I did all this stuff, Anyway, fast forward, I said, it's okay. You can stay home. You don't have to go and, hang out with your friends. He said, no, Dad, I promised them, I really have to go. So did all this stuff, put stuff around his knee, ice pack, all that stuff. And he felt a bit better. I gave him some ibuprofen and he felt better. So anyway, when he got to the where they went, they were going to hang out, right? At that age. So where he got to where he went, I texted him. I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm great. How's it going? Oh, we're having fun. It's good. I said, by the way, how's the knee? He said, it's better, Dad. Yeah, I'm moving, moving. It's better, right? I'm pretty sure that the knee was still injured because it was actually a bit swollen, yeah? But when you change your focus, when you're motivated, you forget the pain. When listen, you've had a situation, if one of you has a problem, you have an injury, like your leg was, you twisted an ankle or something, and you're walking into the office and then you hear gunshots. In a second, you start running like you're Usain Bolt, forget the pain. As soon as you hear gunshot, you say, whoa, boom, off you go. I often say to people, if I kidnapped your child and the ransom was for you to sell 2 products from my company, how long would it take you to sell the 2 products? And that's somebody you may be looking at and say, this person is lazy. They're not lazy, they're just not motivated. So our goal or our job as leaders is to find out what people want. What is valuable to them? And when you find out value and you link it to them, then people will work hard. Because I've seen lazy people become hardworking, which means it was a temporary thing, which means it was linked to what was going on around them at the time. That's why they were lazy. Because you change the circumstances, you change the person's output. Sometimes it's the way you speak to people. Sometimes kids don't do well in school. They hate sciences, or they hate maths, or they hate English, or whatever. It's not really the subject they hate. They don't mind working hard. They just don't like the teacher. In most cases, I can't stand this guy. As soon as I see the teacher, their attitude drops. Their passion, enthusiasm to do work drops. So laziness is predicated on motivation. If you have a motive, if you have something that you're working towards, when you need to pay rent, listen, when you need to pay, and your landlord is one of those that won't give you a warning. They will come in and lock the door and throw your stuff on the street. And you need to pay rent. My goodness, are you going to be lazy? Listen, man, if you're a chapati seller, if you're a salesperson, if you're selling salad master, if you're an artist and you need to sell paintings to pay your rent, I'm telling you, that work that you've been putting off for months, on the 28th of the month, you will give it out as it is. You say, I intended it to be that way. You see, art is abstract. It's finished. The guy says, it looks unfinished. Yeah, that's what I intended. You're desperate to pay rent. You will knock door to door. When you really need the money to do something, you will knock on every single door. So what I say to people, if you want to kill laziness, just increase the value or find what is valuable to you and increase the pain. You can work by desperation or by determination. Very few people know how to work with determination. Most people work better with desperation. And if you have a lot of things in your life and you have money and you have things going for you, try and find something you can be desperate for. You know, people change. You know, they meet somebody, they want to go into a relationship. And she says, I like men in suits. This guy has never worn a suit. You know, 3 days later, he's coming up in a suit and a tie. Ooh, you look good. Yeah. Right. People used to say the guy never used, he's a lazy dresser. He doesn't want to dress up, but now he's in a suit. What's going on? I met somebody that likes men in suits. I met somebody that likes, you know, people who go to the gym, motivation. They don't want to go to the gym. They think of their relationship. It's the two of it's the lesser of the two pains, the lesser of the two pains. Staying in bed is painful. Going to the gym is painful. Which one is more painful? Staying in bed, because you will lose the relationship. So guess what? You go to the gym. So that's really important. The second question was people with a bad attitude. That's a culture. That's a culture. If you have an office, you have a team that has a bad attitude, it's because you probably need to look at yourself and say, how is my attitude? Yeah, I'm telling you, attitude is infectious. Attitude is infectious. People know what you're thinking before you tell them what you're thinking. People know, they feel you, right? So I don't say good morning to people unless I mean it. So if I meet somebody in a corridor and I walk past them, I don't want to know how you are. I'm not interested. So I'm not going to pretend. But if I say, how are you today? I actually want to know. I will listen and go, how are you today, Ahmed? He says, I'm fine. I go, fantastic. How's the family? He says, it's fine. I said, good, good, good. Great, great, great. Looking forward to today, man. It's going to be a great day. I really, really mean every word. But if I don't want to, I'll walk past Ahmed. I might nod, but I'm not going to ask him how you doing because I'm not interested. Something is happening to me that does not give me the opportunity to find out how Ahmed is. Right now, I'm dealing with something. So I'm like that. I don't like being pretentious. So attitude is like that. People know there's a standard that you set with your team, with the surroundings, with your family, with your attitude. There are people that you know when you meet them, you don't like them. And it's not because you know them, you just don't like them. There's a vibe, an energy around them. The way they vibrate, you go, I don't know why that this person, I just don't feel like talking to this person. Give him a chance, give her a chance. No, the energy is off. They're hardworking, they're enthusiastic, but something about them tells you this is not my mix. So you need to understand, you know, everybody has an aspiration as to the kind of attitude you want to have. And even if you don't know, you need to look at people and say, I'd like to have that person's life. And when you say you'd like to have that person's life, you will never be that person, but you can copy their attitude. Attitude is a frame of mind. Attitude can also be induced by environment. If you have an environment that's conducive to learning and growth, and it's, you know, it's a servanthood environment, it's there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is an inducer of attitude, you know, music and a bit of energy, a bit of this, you know, people feel good. When they feel good, they think good. When they think good, they start to do good things. So you need to create that environment that's conducive to learning and growing, and snap out, you know, if you see somebody that's bringing in a bad energy, you pluck them out really quickly. I've seen great salespeople with a really bad attitude, and I fire them all the time. I fire them all the time. I don't want them. I hate gossip. You'll never get rid of gossip, but I hate it when I find it. I knock it on the head. Gossip is one of the biggest killers of business. But what happens is those people who are idle, they have no motivation, they have nothing to do, they're not fired up, they're not driven to work. The only thing they have to do is talk. The devil makes good work of idle hands, right? So be very careful. Attitude is inspired. It's inspired by the leader. If your attitude is weak as a leader, your people will be weak in terms of attitude. You need to start to, encourage a culture of, positivity in your office, in your environment, in your team, in your whatever group you belong to. There are some groups they've invited me to WhatsApp and various other groups, and I jump out very quickly because I see the comments. I go, no, I don't want to be in this environment. Right? So people know what attitude you have. If you really want to find out why the office or why an organization, why a team, why an association has a bad attitude, look at the leadership. The leadership determines the attitude because you get what you tolerate. If you allow people who are negative, who are damaging in your organization, in your team, they will take you out because it takes one drop of oil to kill an entire barrel of milk. Just a drop of oil, boom, one. So you have to have a great attitude on purpose. What was the last part of the question, Kev?
The last part of the question was about handling disputes at work between co-workers and handling disputes at work.
That stuff for me, that stuff is stupid. It's disputes at work. Listen, I don't know if anyone has an organization here of about 500 people, 200 people. Most of your teams will be 5, maybe 10, maximum 20 people. That's it, right? And you don't need a HR department. I have a HR director that deals with the disputes at work, and when somebody does this happens or whatever, we're like 20 people trying to coexist, right? So when you talk about disputes, the minute people have nothing to do, they start to bicker, they start to, we're a group of 20. We're a group of 20. Of course, we're not always going to agree. There's a difference between disputes and disagreements. I don't agree with that process. I don't agree with that, let's talk about it, right? The best way is if I hear something, and some of these guys, you guys know, when I hear something that was said by somebody, I pull them in, I pull the other person, and I say, let's talk about this, because apparently you don't like Grace, and Grace, you don't like Amy. I get it, you don't have to like each other, but what you said about Amy the other day, you told me something about Amy. Can you tell her, please, in front of me? And I want Amy to hear that from you. So I don't know, I just like things to be out in the open. There's no reason why you should have, prolonged disputes and then you go, oh, don't worry about it. When somebody comes to you and says to you, I have a problem. This person stole money from me, but please don't tell them. The person who's reporting has a problem. Somebody has just stolen my money from me, Mr. Police Officer, but please don't tell them. So why are you telling me? Somebody has a really bad attitude. They're in the corridor and they're talking trash about the business. And you come and say, I just want to report this person, but don't tell them I said it. You're irresponsible. You need to take ownership. So, disputes are usually, again, it's a leadership. If you allow people to bicker and whinge and moan and talk about, small stuff that are irrelevant, most disputes are born out of lack of professionalism. Professional people will disagree, they will fight, they will challenge each other. They might even have a physical fight. I've seen it on training grounds of football teams, right? But at the end of the day, the manager calls both of them in and says, guys, sit down. You're grown men, behave like, grown men, We have a cup to win. We have a tournament to win. We have this to win. We need to focus on that. Whatever your stuff that's going on, leave it at home. Finished. You just have to remind people of the bigger goal. What's the, what, you know, whatever. And I'm not saying it's a perfect world. And even if you're 5 of you, you can't dispute or you can't have a dispute or whatever, you can. It's just that, you know, you get what you tolerate. People know. You have an uncle, you have an auntie, you have a cousin. You know, when you go to their house, you have to take off your shoes at the door. You know it. You take off your shoes. If you don't take off your shoes, it's a problem. It's like, what? World War III just came in. You entered my house. You stepped on my carpet with your shoes. Everyone in your family knows that this person, do not mess with that side. So once you have a standard as an organization, as a team, as an association, you have a standard and you let people know what the standards are, it's very difficult for people to come in and litter in your business. You know, when you have, and some of you are too young to understand this, yeah? When you allow your kids to fight in front of you, the problem is the parent. If you fight in front of me, if you're my staff, and I've seen it before, it's happened in my office. And in fact, what I've done is I've got rid of one of those people. Usually when it happens, one of them has to go. I've seen people fight in front of me. No, I'm not talking about disagreements. I don't agree with that concept. No, that's fine. We can debate, we can scream, we can throw furniture around. That's okay because we're passionately trying to build a business together. That's different. But when you start saying, you know, you are this and you are cheap and you're disrespecting each other in front of me, what you're doing is you're disrespecting me. And I don't like that. What you're doing, you also, so I ask you a question, I say, Kevin, have I disrespected you in this meeting? No. I just want to understand what gave you the impression that you can be disrespectful to me? Oh, no, I wasn't talking to you. I was just talking to Rita. No. You talk to Rita in that manner, in my office, in front of me. So therefore, you're disrespecting me and you're disrespecting my kids. Because this is their business. This is who I'm building it for. You're disrespecting everybody that's in this compound. What gives you the impression that you can come to my office and disrespect Rita, me, my kids, and everybody else in this organization? Now, when I have that conversation with you, Kevin, if you do it again, then you're not supposed to, you know, not everybody can fit into that environment. So I'll let you go. But you shouldn't have disputes unless you have 500 people, 200 people working in your organization. That's fine. You know, a driver is going to get upset with their line manager. They're going to go to HR. They're going to sort it out. There are people who are trained for dispute handling. Leadership teaches you a little bit of that. But if you spend 90% of your time trying to fix small problems in a small group, you never make money. Snap them out, kill them very quickly. And the quickest way to kill them, bring the two parties together and say, talk. You know, both of you are bickering behind your backs. So let's talk. Let's bring it to the open. Tell me what's the problem. And it's amazing. Amazing things happen. People start to say, I'm so sorry. And, you know, I should have come to you and all this kind of stuff. And then if they continue doing it, then they have a chronic problem. So we have to fix it. You know, the easiest way, if it's possible, to get rid of cancer is to cut it out. So if that person is consistently doing that stuff, you cut them out of the team. And that's it. I hope that's helped. So I want to close with a few tips, and I think we've run out of time, but this will be important for those of you who have time to spare another 5 minutes. This will be really important. So one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention is that the world is changing, obviously. The pandemic was one of the things that people give as an excuse. We all talk about it. We say because of COVID, things have changed and customers are not interested anymore. I don't understand how customers would not be interested in wellness if you're in Salad Master, or how customers who consumed art are no longer interested in art. The interest is not the issue. They're still very interested. Their circumstances may have changed. Now, what's happening in the world right now is most people align themselves to the general perception, or if you like, the majority's perception. So the media will sensitize us. They will tell us that this thing is happening. You hear Elon Musk talking about the potential recession that's coming. Every business person starts talking about it. This is the richest man in the world talking about recession. So people who don't even understand the meaning of the word recession, they look it up and they start saying, yeah, it's coming, right? So we exaggerate things or factors that don't even relate to our market. And we make it a big deal. Oh, the stock market is about to collapse, so Uganda is in trouble. Listen, there's a little bit of an effect that could happen in some of the African countries when that happens, but in the main, it doesn't really affect you. You know, there's so many other factors that mean that, you know, the products that we're involved in, our GDP and all these kind of stuffs, they're not affected by what's going on in some of the other markets in the world. You know, so really just be very, very careful not to just grab any information and say, this is what's happening, and I know this is going to happen to me as well. Be very, very careful with that. So one of the things that I wanted to really bring to your attention is we're becoming a consumer society. We're really very consumerist in our approach in everything. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. Okay. What happens is that the richest people in the world, who knows the richest person in the world today? Does anybody know the richest person in the world? Who knows the richest person in the world? Are you actually going to pretend you haven't been on your social media? Because I know you have. Because I know you know. Okay, okay. So someone says Elon Musk, yeah. Okay, so that's correct. It changes overnight. Today it changes, tomorrow it changes. It could be him, it could be Jeff Bezos, yeah. Now, these people are not rich by accident. And I want to talk about Amazon. Amazon is a $1 trillion company now, and the guy who owns it on paper is worth, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? That's not real cash, but he's worth that, you know, that kind of money. It's a lot of money. If they had to sell the company today, it would be worth, you know, lots and lots of money, upwards of trillions of dollars, right? Now, what does Amazon do? Amazon feeds a craving. What is the craving? Consumerism. We have just the world is decided, or people subconsciously mirror themselves to the West, especially to America. America is a consumerist society. We buy everything. So what happens is now, most of what's happening is fallacious. People want to look a certain way. They want to pretend to be a certain person. So what they do is they buy things to cover up. Man, I don't even know if you're getting this. They buy things, they buy clothes, they buy makeup, they buy, you know, they take pictures, they do things to cover up what's really going on. And this is a culture that's been happening in America for centuries. You know, Americans are very flamboyant, very, you know, but they also, they're very tenacious people. They work hard. There are opportunities in America because of the consumerist society they live in. Lots and lots of people have made a fortune because everybody's buying everything from everybody. So, you know, China made a fortune from, you know, making things for that would actually serve the American market. So what's happening is that as we become more aware using all these platforms, social media, TV, internet, what's happening is that we're starting to have bigger cravings. Okay. So we're craving for things we can't fund. We don't have means of funding those things. And this is very typical. So now the world of internet is actually infiltrated Africa and most of these smaller economies, and people want to have what the Americans, what the British, what these people have, okay? And I'm making a point here. So what happens is in pursuit of looking like you are somebody, you stop working to become somebody. In the pursuit of looking or in the pursuit of wanting to look like somebody, you stop working towards becoming somebody. Your motivation dies because you have been satisfied. You have the shoes that look like hers, even though they're plastic. You have the hairstyle that looks like hers. You have the watch that looks like hers, even though it's a counterfeit. You have, you can stand next to a car in a parking lot and take a picture, and all of these things. So what happens is that we start to aspire more to look like something rather than becoming something. And I really, really hope you're getting this. So how do we get out of this? One of the things that is really important is if you have an opportunity to do something, master it. Master it. Let me explain. Master it. If you're in sales, become the baddest. Don't sleep until you become a master. If you're in sales, listen, I'm telling you, when I joined Salad Master, I trained so hard for about 3 to 4 weeks. Actually, it was 4 weeks. I was with the two Kevins in my house. We trained every single day, Monday to Monday. We were training on that script presentation. We wanted to become the very, very best we can be. We trained. We went outside. We had a little drink, and in the middle of having a drink, we would argue about a concept. We'd talk about enemies of nutrition. We trained until we couldn't train no more. And guess what happened? We became really good at it, and we started to hit master level. Let me explain. Master level means every time we spoke to a customer, we knew that potentially they would buy. If they had the means to buy, they would buy. So we got the 1-in-1, 1-in-2 conversion ratio. We became masters. In our business, and I use an example of our business, you can be a master at booking appointments. You can be a master at doing presentations. You can be a master at training, right? You can be a master at recruiting and building teams. You need to master those things. When you master those things, you can then start to demand pay per skill. Oh man, I don't even know if you're getting this, right? Pay per skill. People say you have to have multiple streams of income. Very often they're saying you have to have multiple streams of income. You're thinking, I need to have a boutique, a restaurant, a salad master business, and this. No, within the same business, you should be looking, just focus on this. I want to get paid per skill. You get 5% of every appointment that you book that becomes a sale, 5%. You get 15 to 25% every appointment you go to and do the presentation for that buys the product. You get $100 for recruiting somebody that actually goes out and sells a product. Every time they sell, you get paid. And I'm just specifically talking about our business right here, right? You get money for training and developing people, if that's what you want to do. So imagine if you mastered all four, and it's possible. It's possible. What are dealers? The people who become, branch owners, managing directors in our business, they are trainers. I'm a trainer. That's my job. So I make a lot of money training people. That's what we do. You recruit people, you bring them into your business, you get paid. You do presentations, you get paid. You book appointments, even if you're not there. If you go out in the field and Edith books 15 appointments for this week, and she can't do 15 all by herself, and she does 6 of those, and she gives 9 to the office, and Ahmed gets people cooking the 9. If 4 of them sell, she's entitled to 5% of those sales. You get paid per skill. Be very careful. People think, oh, you need other businesses. No, 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 no. You don't need to open up a shoe store. You don't need to open up, none of that stuff. Just focus on mastering the opportunity you have. Become a master. If you're running a shoe store, learn how to sell shoes, learn how to import the shoes into the country, find out the best way to bring the shoes so you can teach other people how to import and get a commission on that. Learn how to, rent people's space within your office or within the building you're in. You can split that into like 5 units and say, okay, I'm going to make money from renting the space as well. Skill, master each skill. It's like this, right? If you focus on multiple skills and you focus on mastering the multiple skills, you have multiple streams of income. You don't focus on, I'm just really good at this. No, you specialize after you've mastered. You master, you say, okay, great, I know how to do this. And if you really plan your time very well and you organize yourself, you focus yourself on the time, you'll be amazed how quickly things will start to actually change for you. And the last part is that understand the times we live in. We live in the times where, the biggest money you can earn, the quickest way for you to make money is to understand your market. What is our market right now? Our market is people want to look good. They want to feel good. They want to tell people that everything is right in their life and stuff like that. So the most sought after sense out of the 6 senses right now in the world is sight. It's the things we see. It's the things we see, and really understand this. So based on what you're doing, how can you impact the market right now? Because back in the days when we had the televisions were really rare. People used to listen. Your grandfathers had radios. People in the village would listen to football matches on radios and stuff like that. There was no television, right? Back in the days, that's how it used to be. Everything was about that. Back in the days before the internet, everything was about touch, touch. I want to, feel it. I want to touch it or whatever. But now we've gone into this world of videos. That's why Instagram is so big, because it's about pictures and videos. TikTok is so big, it's about videos, right? So they know the market. They know the market. So what product do you have? How does it link to people? How can you make it relevant so that when they're actually thinking about how they're going to look and appear in the world, or when they're looking for other things, they can see you as well. They can see your product. They can see your processes. I see people posting videos of, cooking and stuff like that in our business, especially. I see people posting all types of stuff. That's really powerful. Sometimes, when you post something and you get 2 people liking it, you start thinking, nobody liked me, so I'm not going to post again. Post, but post the relevant stuff that pertains to your business. Because we're in a visual world, graphical representation of things is really what's selling right now. So what is it that you're doing to put your business out there? What are you actually doing on a daily basis to ensure that you have presence in the market? Because if you can't do it physically, you can do it virtually. And I hasten to say that if you don't think about that, if you don't think about exposing your business and exposing yourself as much as possible, you're really lagging behind the world. And unfortunately, your business will struggle. So if you're selling Salad Master, put it out there. If you're selling art, put it out there. If you're a singer, put some videos. Let one person like it. There's a guy who does this thing, the Italian guy who does, I don't know what his name is, this little guy, African guy in Italy. And he was asked in an interview, he said, my first post, I think his first month, he had one person like it. He has a thing about 20 something or 40, I don't know, maybe even 100 now, million followers on TikTok. And he has, almost 50, 60 followers on Instagram. He's making fortunes, he's making millions, right? But his first attempt in, going out, 1 or 2 people liked it in the first month. They click like on his video, right? So people say, well, It's not going to work. No. What are you selling? How many people are seeing it on a daily basis? We live in a visual driven world. We live in a world where we are inspired by what we're seeing right now. That is the most powerful sense right now. Visual, the eyes, what the eyes see. People want to consume information. They want to consume pictures. They want to consume videos. Put yourself out there. So when you're sleeping, your videos are working. When you're sleeping, your literature is working. When you're sleeping, people are seeing videos being reposted by other people, tweets by other people. Why do you think Elon Musk bought Twitter? These people are not stupid. They have the best, financial advisors in the world. So the richest man has Twitter. The richest man has Amazon, consumerism. But where do they have it? Their shop is a website. Do you understand where I'm going? So Instagram and all these things, Facebook, YouTube. These are the current billionaires. So that the question is, can you leverage those tools to actually build your brand and build your business and expose yourself to the world as much as possible? I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for your patience. You're very, very kind. You stayed a bit longer than normal, but I hope we address some of the questions. Next week will be an independent topic. It's not a Q&A. We'll announce it probably earlier than we did this week, so you can get your people ready. And and I hope you're learning. If you're learning something from this, please post it on the chat so everybody learns from it. If you think somebody can benefit from this, invite them to the next one. We're going to keep doing this. And then the other one is that when I come back to Africa, I'm planning to do a physical one, a live event where we're going to have 200 people. There's only going to be 200 tickets. 200 tickets are available. We're going to sell those as soon as they're closed. Then that's it. But it's going to be a powerful session, a workshop. I've invited a friend of mine from Canada. He's an American guy. So we tried to do that in Uganda, at the back end of July. So we'll let you know the dates. But in the meantime, give us your feedback. If there's anything you want us to talk about, the things you think we can improve, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. God bless you. That's it. We're not going to have an opportunity to dance today because we were a bit late. But next week we'll dance. I promise you. Alina potential. Next week. I promise you. Next week. All right, guys. All right. That's it, guys. That's it. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.